Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome. Welcome, everyone, to the 7th edition in our webinar series in which we are discovering the Genially universe. In past episodes, we've seen a global overview of the platform. We've spoken about interactivity, animation, infographics, and integration. This time, we are going to focus on a reality that's becoming more and more common in companies, which is working remotely. And how we can get the most out of this situation in order to improve the way that we communicate. So thank you to everyone who is joining us, both live as well as watching the recording of the webinar later. So let's begin. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Hope you can see that well. Perfect. So as you can see, today we are going to talk about what is remote work. We'll see what advantages it has and why it's a trend that more startups and businesses all around the world are starting to adopt. We'll analyze the keys to remote meetings, to ensuring we hit the target with our communication, and to create the most effective pitches, thanks to techniques such as pitch decks, elevator pitches, and the creation of video presentations and reports. We're also going to have a demo portion in which we will create, within just a few minutes, a captivating pitch full of interactivity and animation that's ready to be shared with the world. And finally, we will answer your questions live. We also remind you that whenever you have doubts, you can send them to us through our social media channels by using the hashtag #AskGenially. So let's start. Remote work isn't new, but it is becoming more and more common. It makes it easier for startups and companies to continue with their daily tasks, such as meetings, workshops, training sessions, product demos, or any other action from a distance. It's the ideal situation, of course, when it's managed correctly, since it has multiple advantages, not just for the business, but also for the employees that work there. So among the advantages of this way of working, we can highlight a few of them. First, improved time management. On the one hand, we have less distractions, which will help to improve our concentration, and therefore it lets us complete our work even faster. On the other hand, by reducing the time that we spend commuting, we get more time in our day to work on other tasks. When this occurs, our attitude towards the day improves. Can you imagine not having to travel 30 minutes in a packed subway car or not needing to wake up at the break of dawn in order to avoid rush hour? By starting the day off calmly, that's one of the keys to really getting the most out of our workday. And then, of course, if we feel good, our health will also improve. And best of all of these advantages lead to something amazing for the business. And that is improved productivity. On top of that, it has been demonstrated that the more time spent working remotely, the more productive and efficiently we work. Awesome, right? So now, since we know the advantages of working this way, let's see how we can work together in this environment in our day-to-day tasks. One of the biggest inconveniences, let's say, that people think to working remotely is communication. On the one hand with colleagues, but also with clients or investors. So how can we flip this situation to make it easier to hit the communication target? I'm sure you've heard the phrase, life is a story, at some time. This means that we are constantly adding value to our conversations. The way we sell nowadays has a more human focus. We sell through conversation, through being yourself. However, while working remotely, you have to be even more careful about this aspect. That's why it's really essential to develop a communication flow which allows you to transmit information in a clear and efficient way. It should be loyal to your brand and your philosophy, as well as optimal in terms of time. So let's look at 6 questions that will help you to create an amazing as well as an effective pitch. First, who is your project directed towards? Choose the environment that you want to improve and study it in order to better focus your ideas. Second, why are you carrying out this project? Be sure to clearly define your objectives. Third, what does your proposal consist of? Explain how your product or business works in a brief and simple way. Fourth, do you want them to remember you? Be sure to include an anecdote that leads to improved memory of your story. Remember that as humans, we love stories. They make up about 2/3 of our daily conversations. And fifth, why is your idea awesome? Show your value proposition, those features that make you stand out above your competition. It's interesting here to include some figures which indicate and show off the success you've had, as well as what you want to achieve. Okay. And then sixth, what do you need to keep creating? Here is where you really want to call your audience to action. It's time to show them why you're giving them this pitch and how they can help you. You can talk about your business model, what resources you need, and when you estimate a profit gain, thanks to the support that you're going to receive from them. So with the pitch prepared, it's time to structure it in a way that will ensure your communication goals are met. Now, the structures that we are going to see are ideal for dealing with clients or investors. However, you can adapt them and make use of them to make your daily meetings more efficient and visually appealing. So let's see some pitch examples. The first one that we're going to talk about is the pitch deck. If you are looking for a brief and concise presentation to present your business plan, the pitch deck is the structure that you are looking for. With a pitch deck, you can employ visual storytelling to tell the story of your startup or business in 15 minutes or less. You will succeed in captivating, from the very beginning, possible investors, clients, co-founders, or whoever you need. Achieve the perfect pitch deck by including these 8 points. An introduction that allows you to talk about the problem and the solution that your product or service offers. Remember to focus it towards your target audience. It's also a good idea to show what the competition is doing in order to make your unique value proposition stand out, as well as create a platform for you to discuss your business model and how your audience can help you reach your goals. The only thing left then would be to share your contact information with them. Okay. The next type of pitch we're going to look at is the elevator pitch. Do you only have 20 seconds? Then the elevator pitch is for you. By following this structure, you will be able to successfully communicate all of the necessary information in less than a minute. Start with some impressive data that captures your audience's attention. Talk about your idea and what you do. And then it's time to call your audience to action and show them how they can contact you. It's that easy to carry out pitches and communications that are actually effective within record time. Okay. Another way to communicate remotely is through the use of video presentations as well as reports. If you cannot communicate live, or if you want your pitch to always be available, for example, on the landing page of your website so that your visitors can see it, how can we ensure that our message is really coming through? For these moments, you can promote your product or your business by making use of a video presentation. A video presentation is a sequence of pages that are played automatically in a video format, and that can follow any of the structures that we have seen previously. Okay. And finally, we are going to talk about reports. These are extensive documents in which aspects related to a specific topic are shown in detail and with rigor. They include data, processes, results, as well as an exhaustive analysis of the above. So for example, you can create a technical report to make the objectives and results of a project known, to show the activity related to a specific process, or to learn about the evolution of your business in various aspects, such as SEO. A common structure in this type of document includes a cover page, followed by an index, which details the rest of the sections included, an introduction before the content, conclusions from the report, and finally, the references or a bibliography that was used to create the report. Let's see. So now that we've seen the keys for creating presentations and reports that help us to hit the target in communicating remotely, let's make our creations really captivate. Let's make our audience fall in love, and let's make sure our creations are accessible to our colleagues, our team, or our clients from anywhere. Now, in order to achieve this, we will use Genially, which is the online tool that allows us to create a new dimension of content, full of interactivity, animation, and content integration without the need for design or programming knowledge. Within Genially, you'll find more than 1,000 templates ready to use to unleash your communication potential. So that way with Genially, we can ensure that our speech or our pitch is transformed within minutes into an animated and interactive visual experience that your audience will remember. So let's see how. Okay, going to head to Genially. So once you are signed up with Genially for free and you've signed in, you can head over to the creation panel. As you may know, we have 12 categories of templates, as you can see here, to choose from. This time, we are going to work from an elevator pitch template, which has the structure, of course, of an elevator pitch. And it's available within the category presentation. Okay. So what you can do here, if you know you want to create a presentation, you can either scroll through all the available templates until you find one that you like, or if you have a keyword in mind, you can do a search for it. So I'm looking for the elevator pitch presentation that I have here. So you can see just by typing in pitch, I'm given all of these possibilities, these templates. So before going into the editor, we can actually preview the template to see the animation and the interactivity that it has by default. So we can scroll through the pages a bit and see what it looks like. And then, of course, if we like this template, we decide to use it, which we do, we are going to select Use this template. And now this will allow us to choose which pages from the template we want to add. In this case, today, we're only going to choose a few of them, but you can add all of the pages that you need by clicking on them individually, or you can select all. Okay, so today, for this pitch deck structure, I'm going to use 3 of them. This one, I'll select problems, and then for my conclusion, I'll choose this one. So I'm going to select add. And now our template is going to open within the editor. Perfect. Now, when we access the editor, it's really important that we begin by naming our creation so that we can find it back more easily in our panel in the future. Okay, so for this one, here's where we can name our creation. We're going to name it Steps for an Awesome Pitch. Perfect. Now we're also going to name the pages from within the pages menu that we can see here. In this case, we aren't following the pitch structure, but instead we're going to see which steps we need to follow. So because of that, I'm going to name page 2 Steps. And I'll just fix that there. Perfect. All right. So now let's start with the cover page. Editing the text is very easy. We just want to double click on the text box and then we can add our own content. Okay, so I'm going to change the title of this presentation. So this one is going to be called Tools and Resources for, and then same thing with each line. We just double click and we can add our own content. Working remotely and communicating effectively. Perfect. So we can personalize the templates even further by, for example, changing the colors, the background, the colors of the text, or adding images. What we're going to do to give this one a different look is we're going to add a background image. So from the images menu, which we're pretty much just breaking in as it's now even more intuitive than it was before. We are going to go down to Pixabay here, and we can search. So I'm going to search for laptop, since this is an essential element in working remotely. Then we have our options. So we can pick any image that fits what we're looking for. Let's choose this one. Perfect. So as you can see, the image appears on the canvas. The first thing that we can do, of course, is adjust the size. So I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit. All right, let's keep it like that. Perfect. And then I'm going to lower the transparency right here. And I'm going to take it down to about, 25%. And that way it kind of blends in with the background a bit. Now, within the layers menu, I am going to send this image to the back. Perfect. So there, it's that easy to personalize a template. Now, this template has a lot of animation on the cover page. And by previewing, we can see what that animation looks like. Okay, so let's give it. Perfect. So we really don't need to add any more animation to it. But what we can do is apply some interactivity. And let's do that to the start button here. So I'm going to click on the start button. This icon here signifies interactivity. And these are different options for interactivity. Add a tooltip, a window, go to page, or a link. In this case, I want to be taken to page 2 when I click on that button. So I'm going to select go to page, and here's our page 2. Perfect. All right. Now let's move on to the second page, which we can either do by going here to pages, or down here at the bottom, go to next page. Perfect. Perfect. So now we're going to add content related to 3 steps that we need to take to facilitate effective communication through the creation of visual experiences. So the title of this page is going to be Communicating Effectively at a Distance. Perfect. Now let's personalize a bit. The first step we are going to talk about is what to tell. And here, what we are referring to is create your pitch on the basis of these questions. Perfect. Now I'm also going to change the icon because this icon doesn't really reflect the information that I want here. So I'm going to select the icon, click on replace, and then here you can kind of just do a little search for what best fits your content. So here, let's choose this fountain pen. I think that's a good fit. Perfect. All right. Now for the more info button, here is where we can, of course, add interactivity, add some more information here. Now, of course, we can add images, videos, text. I'm going to show you guys a little trick here. So I'm actually going to close out of this for a second. I'm going to head back to my panel. Okay, so here you can see this is the creation that we're working on right now. This is a creation that I already have ready. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually embed this creation within a window of the one we're making now. So maybe this is something that a lot of you didn't know was even possible. So let's just take a minute and I'm going to show you how we can do that. So in this creation that I have now, I'm going to go to share, insert, and I'm going to copy the iframe code. Okay, it's been copied. Now I'm going to head back to the creation that we're making now. Let's go back to page 2 that we were working on. And this is where we wanted to add that information. So I'm going to open up the window. I'm actually going to delete what the image and the text that it came with. I'm going to code view right here. And then I'm just going to paste the code. Now, if I leave code view, you can see that we have a Genially embedded now within another Genially. So this can be really useful for you to not have to duplicate your work if you already have a Genially made and the content is relevant to a new creation that you're making. This is a really great way to embed that content. Okay, so perfect. So I'm going to save that. And then after, when we're finished creating, we can see what that looks like all together. Now for our second step, we are going to say, choose the format. And here, what we are talking about is select the structure and format that best fits your objectives. Perfect. And here, I'm going to change the icon again to something that fits our content a little bit better. Let's do this timeline here. Perfect. All right, that's good. Now, the interactivity that I'm going to add here is going to be a tooltip. Remember, with a tooltip, we can add a small amount of information, and upon hovering the mouse over that button, the information will appear. Okay, so I think in this case, we can keep the image, and then I have some text already prepared that I'm going to add. Perfect. Here we go. And I'm just going to format a little bit. Good, to give it a better look. Perfect. And we'll save that. All right, and now for our step 3, what we are going to say is bring it to life. All right, and here I am going to change the icon, and let's add this video player, okay? And what we're talking about here is use tools that help you captivate your audience. Perfect. Now, as you can see here, we have a video player. So the information that we're going to add is, let's go here to the interactivity, and let's close this. Now, since we're talking about effective communication, another way that we can communicate effectively is through the use of infographics. So here, what I'm going to add is a link to a video. And this video is a webinar that we did recently that give you the keys to creating amazing infographics. So I go here to insert video, I paste my URL, insert, and then here, directly within our window, we can watch that webinar. Perfect. All right, so we are almost towards the end where we're going to look at questions from the audience live. However, before we do that, I would like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So what I'm going to do here is subscribe. And here we are going to use interactivity to add our YouTube channel to this button. Of course, everyone knows this symbol. So the interactivity here is when we click on this button, it'll take us to this link. And I'm just going to copy the link to the Genially YouTube channel, and I'll paste it right here. Perfect. All right. Now, we don't need these other elements, so I'm just going to delete them. I'll move this one to the middle. Perfect. Okay, and of course, if you're watching us live and you haven't done so yet, now is the time to drop your questions in the chat so that we can answer them live. If you're watching the recording later, or if any new doubts arise at any time, you can use our hashtag. I'll add it here. Hashtag #AskGenially on our social media channels, and we will help you out with whatever questions you might have. All right. Now, finally, check out down here this audio resource that we can see here. It will only play one time, and that's when we access this page of our creation. Now, this template comes with the sound of an elevator, since it is the template for an elevator pitch. However, we are going to delete it because we are going to make use of a brand new functionality that was just released, and that is audio recording from directly within the editor. With this feature, it's easy to narrate your content and to ensure your successful communication. So let's see how that works. Now, within the editor, we are going to go to the Insert menu. We are going to click on the Audio tab, and then here you'll see different options for inserting audio into your Genially. And this is where you'll find the Record an Audio button, okay? So once I click on the microphone, it's going to start recording. So let's record. I'm gonna do it now live. we go. Thank you for participating in our live webinar on effective communication and working remotely. Okay, so I just clicked it again to finish the recording. And as you can see here, it appears directly on the canvas. And the audio menu also opens. Now, if at any time you accidentally click and lose this menu, you can simply click on the audio file and on this gear, and the settings will open again, okay? So let's adjust the settings a little bit. First of all, we are going to turn on the autoplay option so that the recording begins as soon as we access this page. And we're also going to hide, right here, the audio player so that the audio box is not visible in the presentation, okay? So now I think we have everything ready. I'm just gonna move this over even though it won't be visible. I think we have everything ready. Let's go back to page 1. Remember, at any time, you can preview your design to see what it looks like and make sure it looks exactly like how you had in mind, okay? Perfect. Whoop. All right, so when you're finished creating, all you have to do is click on All Set to share it with the world. Let's make it public, and perfect. Now, you can present it, you can share it directly through the use of a link without needing to download anything. And this unique link can be shared over any digital means. You can also embed wherever needed. So for example, on your blog, or as we saw a few minutes ago, within another Genially, okay? So here's some other ways that you can share your creation via email, social networks, okay? So I'm actually going to share the link with all of you in a minute in the chat, okay? Now, just one other thing that I would like to mention, on top of course, the easy creation that you can share it wherever you need, Genially also generates statistics regarding how our audience interacts with the creation. So let me just show you where you would access that. So here in your creation, you can go to statistics. Now, you can also connect your Google Analytics ID if you have a premium plan to monitor and measure even more data. So of course, I just created this, I won't have statistics yet. However, having access to these statistics, you'll be able to measure and analyze what is and isn't working within your creations in a fast and easy way. Knowing the way that your users interact with your creations will take you closer to being successful in how you communicate your content. Okay, I'm gonna head back here. Now, I am going to check out the chat, see if there's any questions that haven't been answered, and I'm also going to drop the link for the creation that we just made. All right, so there you have the link to the creation. I'm just going to check and see if there are, oops, any questions that haven't been answered. Okay, anything related to Genially, to pitches? Okay, I see my colleagues are also in the chat answering, so that's great. Okay, yep, embedding. Yeah, okay, so Bonnie, if you copy the iframe code, you can definitely embed your creations anywhere that accepts the HTML code for that. So at your website, your blog, for example, you could embed that, and you can have all of that interactivity and animation directly there. Okay. All right. Perfect. So I don't see any other questions. Let's see, that my colleagues haven't been answering in the chat. All right. Perfect. Good. Oh. All right. So now let's head back to our presentation here. We hope that you've enjoyed this webinar in which we've seen how working remotely can be a fantastic opportunity for you to make your meetings more agile, as well as to develop a memorable pitch that will strengthen our effective communication, as well as how Genially is the tool to really achieving that. As always, we are going to have a prize drawing for one pro plan among those of you who registered for the webinar. and we'll be in contact with the lucky winner via email. Now, in case you're watching us live and you didn't register in advance for the webinar, we are going to put the link in the chat now for you to register. So good luck. Now, if you don't win, don't worry. All of you who are watching us can use this discount code for 20% off a pro plan. And this code will be active for a few days. So now's the time to unleash your creativity. Now, of course, we are reaching the end of the webinar. We invite all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be up to date with all of the webinars we're doing, as well as all the other awesome content that we are publishing. Now, we've answered your questions live, but of course, if there are any other lingering doubts out there, we encourage you to send them to us via social media using the hashtag you can see here, #AskGenially. Okay? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Perfect. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a great day. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.